All right, we want to talk about story points. Story points is a oftentimes confusing, very, very confusing concept. So let's kind of dive in. Story points are a measure of both complexity and effort to complete a user story in terms of developers developing, coding the user story. So we don't want to really think of story points in terms of hours and time. There's a cheat sheet for that. We could talk about that in a moment. But really, what you want to kind of call out and have an understanding of is that the lower the story points are, the lower effort and complexity, right, and the lower risk and uncertainty. So in this example, there's no work needed. That maybe that's a one story point. Maybe that's a research item. Very trivial task like changing a label, changing a button, right? 2 points because the effort's medium to low. Complexity is very low. Risk is medium to low. Bug fixes, well, simple bug fixes, 3 points. Minor feature updates, 5 points. Implementing a login screen, 8 points. Adding a basic search functionality is 13. Why is it so high? Because the effort required is high and the complexity is high. And then creating a user dashboard, 21 points, because everything is high. The effort, the complexity, and even the risk and uncertainty is extremely high. So this is a good example. And then, there's a cheat sheet regarding t-shirt sizes. If you remember, t-shirt sizes are usually meant for release planning when you're trying to get, high level, t-shirt sizes on epics, on bigger pieces. But this is the t-shirt size to story point equivalent. So extra small is like 1 point, small is like 2 points, etc. And as much as I hate to say it, and as much as I dislike the comparison of time with story points, there is a cheat sheet here, right? So you could get an idea. So 1 point is something that's 1 to 2 hours, small is something 1 to 2 days, a medium or a 3 is 1 to 2 days, half a week is a large, extra large is 8 points. 13 points is it's a lot, right? More than 1 week. And then double extra large or 21 points is like a full sprint. And anything more than 21 points should be broken up. Now, this is kind of a really quick example of different user stories and their story point value. And let's look at something that's maybe a 2-pointer. So if we look here at this 2-pointer, it says, as a logged in user, I want to be able to see a history of my payments on the settings page. So they said that's a 2-pointer, right? There's not much going on in terms of development. You're just basically calling an API and you're displaying the history of the payments, right? If you look at the 3-pointer, as a site visitor, I want to log in using my email and password. There's some API integration here, right? 5-pointer, as a site visitor, I want to use search with filters, right? So that's something that's definitely more involved. Maybe that's something that might take 2 or 3 days. And 8 points, something that might take like half a sprint. As a logged in user, I want to be able to add content on the website. For example, like edit the title, description, etc. So now you're talking about actually not just viewing content, but now you're like editing content and saving content, which means obviously, there's a backend API component to that and, a database component to that, right? So that they put that at 8 points. So that kind of gives you a lay of the land. Again, story points are not hours, they're not time, it's complexity and effort. One of my favorite ways to figure out story points is getting developers to kind of showcase, or even looking at developers and looking at the types of work they did. Imagine a category of work. For example, when I was at Verizon, one of the big categories of work is updating the content, the copy, for example, to different product descriptions, right? Like the iPhone 14, we have to update the content. Well, something like that might have been 3 points. And that would mean anything that's similar, maybe we have to update the content, somewhere else on the website. That might also be 3 points. So you want to use these types of references from the past to guide you in terms of story points. And I hope that really helps, and we will catch you at the next video.